Hey there, this is Joe Techie, back again doing another review. Today we're going to be talking about the Kensington KeyFolio Thin X3 keyboard case. This is a Bluetooth keyboard case offering from Kensington for the iPad Air 2. I just want to discuss a little bit about this keyboard and tell you a little bit about the pros and the cons. So first off, let's talk about the different varieties that are available. This model comes in black or white, and the one that I have here today is the black one. There is a standard X2 version. There's an X2 version also with backlit keys, and there is an X3 version, which is what we're going to be looking at today, that has the PowerLift feature, which means that you can plug in a phone or some other electronic device that is battery powered and use the battery feature to charge up your phone or whatever the device is. So let's go ahead and crack this open so we can have a quick look. This is the packaging that it comes in. Actually, it was quite simple and definitely did not look to me like it was something off like a retail shelf. It was something that perhaps maybe sold at a warehouse or something like that. Now it is packaged quite well. They do protect the device quite well in the packaging. Let's just go ahead and pop it out of there. There's a small quick start guide here. We have some charging cables for the keyboard itself. And there is this other little USB dongle that allows you to plug, I guess extend the USB cable out to other cables. So this is the keyboard case, and let's go ahead and just crack this open and take a look. Alright, so this is it. It's got a very nice texture feel to it. You'll see that it has this little vinyl, like almost like a woven style texture. It has a nice feel to it where I can grip it quite well. It does have all of the cutouts available. You got your lock screen, your up and down volume buttons, camera, microphone here at the bottom, your speaker, charging ports and whatnot. Here's also the charging port for this case. And it is all basically attached through this through the backing. We're greeted with this little insert here that's inserted into the iPad. Okay, let's take this apart. In any case, okay, so this is the keyboard itself. Just taking a quick look, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start with putting in my iPad here to present that into this here. So I always like to go button side first whenever possible, unless the case prevents me from doing that. So you literally just snap it in at the bottom edges here and you are good to go. Okay, moving on. So let's go ahead and pair this up, and we'll kind of take a quick look at what's actually going on and see how this thing functions. So I'm going to go into my settings, and let's make sure my Bluetooth is turned on. Now we're going to notice that it's not going to show up any devices here because it's trying to discover with this little spinning icon. So what I have to do is put it onto this magnetic strip here, and what will happen is we'll press this button down to put it in the pairing mode, and there's the device showing up, and it's showing me the pairing request, asking me to enter the code. So I'll enter 9255, and we are now connected. So if I can go back to the home button. Okay, so let's just go ahead and quickly cover some of the functions here. It does have a dedicated row of function keys, which is very good, and you do have your pretty standard buttons. You have your home, your search feature, which is probably your search, and then your keyboard toggle. You have different keyboard modes, like if you have international keyboards and things like that. You've got your Siri, you play, rewind, stop, forward, volume up and down, mute. You have your app switcher here, your lock, and of course this is the pairing key up here in the upper corner. Down here you've got some special buttons here for like moving the carriage position of your Say if you're typing and you want to get all the way to the end of the line, you would hold your function and all the way and hit the arrow key. It would take you to the end of the row. And you have some other functions here. You cut, copy, paste, and whatnot. This here also tells you what the current battery power level is. So right now it is kind of flashing yellow, or actually solid yellow. So this one also goes to green, yellow, and then red for the different color indicators on telling you what the battery status is. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the charging port is here. So actually it is the charging port and also the same PowerLift feature that they made available. So if I plugged my iPhone cable or iPad cable into this and plugged it into the port in there, it would actually allow me to charge my device. Okay, so let me just quickly, now that we've looked at what this entails as far as keyboard layout and whatnot, I'm just going to go over some of what I think are the pros and some of the cons, and then all right, let's go ahead and take a quick typing test. All right, so typing on this is quite nice. It has a very thin scissor style keyboard keys, which are more precise than your standard keyboards that have the different types of hinge mechanism that they generally come with. So these are more precise. They are much thinner. In fact, I thought this resembled quite a bit much like the new MacBook that came out from Apple. They have the similar scissor style keys. Okay, so let me just quickly go over some of the other features here. So this is, in my opinion, is very thin. It's also very light, roughly weighs about 1.2 pounds. And that's pretty thin and fairly light considering. It's not the thinnest on the market. It's not the lightest on the market, but it definitely contends with being thin and light. This back cover is extremely solid. For being so thin, it definitely has some thickness to it, as you can see there. And it's very hard. It has not, wobbled or broken on me or anything like that. So it's actually very solid. I feel very confident that this is going to hold my iPad in there. It's not coming out. There's no play whatsoever. Now it does have multiple modes. This is keyboard mode, as you've already seen, and then there's book mode, where you can just lay it like that and carry it like a book, so to speak, or a tablet. I mentioned earlier about the cutouts. All the cutouts are definitely available, so you can actually plug in your earphones, hit all the buttons. They're all accessible quite easily. It also has a smart magnet feature, so when we open it, it wakes up the iPad, or therefore it also puts the iPad to sleep when it's in the closed position. It also has a claim of a 2-year battery life. That's also pretty good. I would anticipate with normal use, you probably would see somewhere in that realm of a 2-year battery life. Now, one thing to note is the keyboard, I can sit here and type all day long. It's actually not active. And I think that can be a good and a bad thing depending on what you're trying to do. How they designed it is you actually have to have the iPad docked into that little thing so that the keypad will work, so you can start typing or doing whatever you need to do. They did give you easy access to the control center, which I thought was pretty interesting. Some keyboards out there, like the Zags, did not allow such easy access to the control center. And it's somewhat easy to remove the iPad out of the case. You would actually need to pry it out from the bottom. You would need to pry it out from here, pop it out, and it would actually come right out without not too many issues there. This one definitely had a pretty decent price tag compared to some of the other models on the market. This one was going around $91 or so roughly on Amazon. Okay, so let me move into the cons. And basically I think this particular model, given that it has the PowerLift feature that I was talking about where you can charge your devices up, I personally feel that this model should have also come with the backlit keys. However, I think the reason why they didn't come with the backlit keys is obviously because if you're charging up other devices, you're going to kill the battery on this thing pretty quick. I don't think I'm going to use it for charging up my devices unless it's an emergency. That's probably the only time I would use that PowerLift feature. There is no portrait mode. So what that means is I can't really prop it up like that. I mean, I could stand it up like that, but there's really no tilted portrait mode that I can use if I need to, say, read something in book mode, for example, but have it standing on its own. This outer material although it feels very nice, and as I mentioned, you can see the texture that it has. It feels very nice, but it does feel like it might get kind of scarred up or dinged up or whatever over the time. You might see some rips in there possibly, because it does feel like a almost like a fabric, even though I think this is more of a vinyl fabric type of feel to it. The iPad does not detach from this at all, so I think that's kind of a con in my opinion. I personally like to just be able to pull my iPad right off the keyboard whenever I need to and just have it stand alone. I think overall this is a pretty good keyboard, and the quality of it seems pretty spot on. The keyboard compares greatly to the Belkin Code series, which there are two of those at least. Now I hope you found this review useful for your buying decision. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I thank you again for watching, and we'll come back again with some more videos coming up real soon.